Stranger Things has been one of those signature phenoms since its debut almost a decade ago. And that's coming from someone who did not watch the show when it first came out in 2016. It wasn't until September 2019, my first ever visit to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, where Stranger Things Season 2 and 3 were featured at one of the haunted houses. I went into that haunted house having not seen anything from the show, and that was coming off a summer where all my friends at work had been relentlessly watching Season 3 as it was debuting, and had told me, you gotta watch Stranger Things, you gotta watch Stranger Things, you got to watch Stranger Things. And eventually I said, alright, goddammit, I'll check it out. And I finally did, October of 2019. Since then, I've watched all the seasons a few times over the years, including watching Season 4 as it was debuting in 2022. This recent rewatch of the series was to make the experience of watching Season 5 all the more epic. I started my marathon a few months ago, and just finished recently as I knew I needed to pace my viewings or I'd get major burnout if I crammed them all in a short time frame. I won't be going into super heavy story spoilers if you haven't seen the show. I'll just be talking about it on a mostly surface level like a normal review. The basic premise for all 4 seasons is that in the 1980s city of Hawkins, Indiana, is subject to various disturbances from entities from another dimension. A group of young boys befriend a girl with telekinetic powers and go on adventures to save the town. There's obviously much deeper story threads, but that's just the basic overlook. This might be one of the most built for all ages series in terms of accessibility and fun for everyone. For the kids, you get a Spielberg-like kid story that just makes you wish you were part of this adventure. It. As an adult, I wish I was part of this adventure too. It's also good entry-level horror and gore for a younger audience, with nothing being NC-17 level graphic, but a few moments here and there to make you go, ouch. The series has the same kind of fun effect that the Harry Potter films did, in seeing the actual physical growth of the kid characters as the series progressed over the decade or so, and it allows kids who are actually watching the show when it first debuted to actually grow with the characters. But for the older audience, that 80s nostalgia is hella strong here. The 80s was such a fun decade, and that setting really adds to the vibes of the show, especially with the use of music. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass, but that Running Up the Hill song has got to be more iconic now than it even was when it came out. But there's other standout moments like Time After Time, Should I Stay or Should I Go, Separate Ways, just to name a few. Season 1 came out in 2016. It sees a group of friends trying to find their missing friend, Will Byers, who has been dragged away to a shadowy dimension. Along the way, they discover a mysterious girl with telekinetic powers and a shaved head. It's a classic feeling story influenced by the movies that came out in the 1980s in E.T. and Poltergeist. That much is obvious when you see how things play out. But it's a formula that works in creating a cozy feeling series with its small town setting, time period, and characters, with enough mystery and intrigue to keep you going. Even when I watched Season 1 though, when it first came out in 2019, and a few times after, nothing about it is going to quite make you go, wow, or blow you away. In retrospect, a large part of that is the smaller budget. Since this was an original series, it's not like they had a crazy amount of money to work with. There's not a lot of extensive use of special effects. And even by the time you get to the Demogorgon by the end, you only see it in a quick couple second flashes. And even then, you can see the rendering frame rate is lagging a bit. When you look back at it, there were some episodes where not a ton actually happened, but I still mostly did like the pacing, strange factor, and the final episode. I firmly liked Season 1, didn't quite love it though. Season 2 came out in 2017. It sees an army of Demogorgon dog hybrid things, demi-dogs, invading Hawkins under the command of the Mind Flayer, who still has control over Will Byers. It's a nice continuation of the plot threads from Season 1, and it's the last time the series still mostly had that small and cozy feel, until it did get big in scale. Season 2 showed a trend for the rest of the series, And that's how they knew how to introduce great new characters. Billy was an absolute badass, and obviously Max has become a nice mainstay for the party in the seasons to follow. That actually brings me to the main thing I didn't like about season 2, and that's when it comes to the characters, and that was Mike. Mike was just really unlikable here because of his treatment of Max. I get that he missed 11, but he just came across as a petulant little annoying little with him not wanting her to be part of their party. Hell, I just wanted to tell him to off. But on the positive side, season 2 was a turning point for myself, and I'm sure a lot of viewers, in Steve becoming their favorite character, after the pretty boy douchebag he was in season 1. He just becomes a great guy once he embraces the whole babysitter role and big brother to Dustin. I used to not be much of a fan of the episode where 11 joins the whole punk rock group, which includes her Rainbow Room sister. Pretty much all of my friends that I talk to say that this episode is what made this season their least favorite out of the 4. But upon rewatches over the past couple years, it's a decent change in pace from the normal action and has some okay character stuff. It makes you realize that the whole dynamic between Hopper and 11 works well in both characters feeling the need to fill that void in their life, with the father-daughter type dynamics, which turns out isn't always easy. But season 2 was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of you feeling the escalation in terms of the show's budget when it came to the stuff with the demi-dogs, which allowed for more extensive action, visuals, and gore than was seen in season 1. The end result was me liking season 2 a lot. I've often heard people say, most people say actually, that season 2 was the weakest. It's certainly debatable, but I don't think it was bad by any means. Season 3 came out in 2019. It sees the Mind Flayer taking matters into its own slimy hands in taking control of various residents in Hawkins to destroy 11 and eventually the world. While this is going on, the Russians get involved, causing trouble of their own in Hawkins. They ended up being some great bad guys here. The vibes and energy, though, in season 3 are just next level. It's just the ultimate summer adventure fun when seeing how much fun everyone's having at the beginning. Just makes you want to jump in and be a part of these amazing 80s vibes. And you can just feel that this is where the series was really flexing at the phenom it had become. It feels that way because while there's still fun to another supernatural sci-fi conspiracy story, the real fun is in the characters. I just loved seeing the new phase of life everyone was in at the beginning and seeing the new character dynamics at play here. With Elle coming into her own with her relationship with Mike, everyone dealing with relationship issues of their own, Steve embracing that new mentor type role to Dustin. Season 3 continued to cement Steve as my favorite character in the series. Just a great down-to-earth guy, babysitter, still with great hair though. And him and the new character Robin played very well off each other, with those characters bringing out the best in each other. But this is where the series really embraces that what I like to call Infinity War type story structure. With the scope and the amount of characters being so big, it gives you 4 times the amount of fun seeing the different story narratives work together and eventually come together to create one epic story. Once again, the budget is taken to the next level with some very impressive visuals with the Mind Flayer and how it comes into the real world with its nasty, monstrous red and gooey form. Those visuals and destruction they pulled off in the final episode were very impressive, and I did feel a wide range of emotions in that final episode. From pure fun, joy, and awkwardness with the whole never-ending story sequence, to the uncomfortable squirming type sequence with the leg sequence with Elle. That was nasty and painful. But powerful is the best way to describe the ending sequence. It was just some amazing dialogue from Hopper and just powerful emotions from all the characters, especially from Joyce and 11. It was masterpiece showmaking to top off a legendary season of Stranger Things. And that brings us to season 4, which came out in 2022. I actually did a review for it when it came out. It was the first season I watched as it was debuting. It sees a powerful upside-down being known as Vecna terrorizing Hawkins by enacting a curse that kills its victims in horrific fashion. This is the season where the story scope just goes to next level, even compared to season 3. It's an absolute narrative juggernaut, with a number of characters, variety of locations, and divergent missions that all make up the season's Infinity War structure, and it's just beautiful to watch. Your 4 main stories being the group in Hawkins dealing directly with Vecna, Eleven attempting to regain her powers again, with the Surfer Boy Pizza group attempting to find her, and then Joyce and Murray rescuing Hopper in Russia. There's naturally a lot of back and forth because of all the stories, and it makes for some really good pacing. I did think out of all the stories, I thought Eleven's story in the whole research facility was a little too drawn out. I actually liked her story the most in the first few episodes when it showed her dealing with getting bullied and coping with not having her powers. It showed that this series really knows how to create some asshole human characters who you absolutely hate. That Angela girl. But I also liked what was done with another new character in Jason. He was an unexpected but great force for Lucas and the other Hawkins group to deal with. It's a testament to the enjoyment of following all these characters because these are long episodes. I don't have an official count, but basically all episodes reach at least an hour and 10 minutes. But there was at least one that got to as much as an hour and 30 minutes, and the final episode was 2 hours and 10 minutes. Holy shit. This season just had an insane budget to work with, but it paid off in epic fashion with 2 episodes in particular. Episode 4, Dear Billy, was great all around with the Hawkins group feeling the tension of Vecna's hold on Max, but the episode reached GOAT status when it got to the end segment with Max and Vecna's mind layer and the use of that Kate Bush song, Running Up the Hill. I remember watching this whole sequence for the first time, and it had me on the edge of my seat and emotional. Man, was that a spectacular sequence. The sense of urgency is really there, because when you see the way Vecna kills folks, it would even make Art the Clown go, ouch, that's brutal. But the final episode was goated as well. Again, 2 hours and 10 minutes, but it was all around epic with all the stories continuously having something to keep you glued to the TV, and that ending. When you understand the story has reached a whole nother level of realizing, oh boy, shit's about to go down. I did think they chickened out a bit with how Max's story ended. Thought they had the chance for something really powerful, but maybe season 5 will make up for it. But the impressiveness of the story scope and next level length when it came to the episodes made for a legendary 9 episodes of television. After season 5 comes out, I'll have a ranking of all 5 seasons, although based on my thoughts here, you can kind of piece together how I'd rank seasons 1 through 4. Nonetheless, stay tuned. Believe it or not, I have not watched any trailers for season 5. I was in the middle of my marathon while all the promotional stuff was going on, so I've only seen the posters, red carpet premiere, and some of the promotional stuff. But I absolutely cannot wait to have my eyes glued to the TV and watching season 5. And ideally watching the final episode in theaters as it's getting a theatrical release. Cannot wait for that as well. So that'll do it for this review of Stranger Things season 1 through 4. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.